Good evening. Good evening. So, um, welcome. Glad to have you this evening. I saw you working on percents. I know we just did a couple problems, but you wanted to go over a word problem. Is 25, 26? Which one do you want to go over? Is any one
That
of
can we do
these?
26?
Huh?
26.
26.
Oh, and,
Okay.
and probably maybe
All right.
25.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to do it by hand, and then we're gonna do it with the calculator, right? Maritza went out with two of her friends. The bill came to $28. So that's a given. So we're gonna underline that. Always identify your givens. They paid an additional 8% tax and left a 20% tip. What was the total cost of the meal? So first of all, I gotta find the part, and we gotta find the tax first. So understand how your bill goes. They give you your total, they charge you tax, and then you got uh, a new total, right? And then based on that total, then you figure out the tip, right? So 28 times 0.08, because 8% as a decimal is 0.08. So then you just, 8 times 8 is 64, carry your 6. 16 plus 6 is 22. You got two zeros. You can put them in, you don't have to. 224, move the decimal places 2 places. That means my tax was $2.24. But tax is added on to the bill. So 28 plus that 224 gives me 3024. And this is what I'm going to pay tax on. I mean, pay my gratuity 20%, right? Well, I know how to do 10%. I can just move the decimal to the left and 10%. So what I would do is I would do this by hand or mental math because I know how to find 10% of any number. Just move it to the left. So 10% would be $3.02. So if 10% is 302, 20% is 604. And then I would add that to that total, right? Now, watch this. So that's one way you could do it. You want to use the calculator. Again, you take that total, which is $28, and times it by 1.08. Oh, Mr. Tinsley, I thought you said multiply by 0.08. But remember, we had to add it to the original total. So if we look at how things are broken down, 100% is really 1. 8% is 0.08. This is where I got the 1.08 from. I added those together. So now instead of going through all those steps and doing separate calculations, I can just multiply by 1.08, get my 3024, and then multiply by 1.2, 3629 would be my total, would be my new total after taxes. Now, the problem with that is, because this is so that's not the answer right there, right? It's not CC 35. The actual answer is 3629. Why? Because when you go in a restaurant, remember that tax is added onto your bill. When you look at that bill to pay um that gratuity, that's after the tax is added on. Most people don't take the gratuity out to figure that out from the original bill, right? So when you see the total bill at the bottom, it's already the tax is already added. So that means you can go times about 1.08 and then turn it right around and times about 1.2. Your new total is 3629. And I heard you say 25, right?
Yes.
All right. So you did the work right, right? So you did 250. And let's just use the calculator because I mean you want to find a part. So um remember to find a part is very easy. Whole times percentage. So 250 times 0.6. So you got the 150, but understand what the 150 is. 150 is the discount, not what she paid. So once you got that discount, you have to subtract that from what the jacket originally cost. So 250 minus 150. So what she wound up paying for the jacket was $100. You got me?
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's just paying attention to what they want and figuring it out. A lot of people, what they do is with math, they just start figuring out numbers. But listen to what it said. Listen what it said. Always identify your givens. Original cost of the jacket was $250. She got a 60% discount. The discount is taken off from the original price. So that's why we subtract it. Got me? I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know what's going on. Somebody else just texted me. They having problems getting in. I don't know what's going on. Let me answer this. Yes, I'm doing Zoom. Yes. So this is the third person that's having problems. Maybe there's something wrong with Zoom. I don't know. I use the
You want
same
me to
link.
try to log back out and log
Nope,
back in?
nope, 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 nope,
Oh,
nope,
okay.
nope. If people, I mean, there's nothing I can do really. Um, it's the same link. I don't use any other link. I use it's the same link. Um, I don't know. That's the third person that's having problems. So it must be something wrong with Zoom. But I guess if they can get in, they'll get in. If not, we have it. It's like a one-on-one.
All right.
All right. So what you got for me next?
Um, I was still working on I was working on area and then system of equations.
And let me ask you a question. You're going from percents to area to percent to system of equation. Why are you jumping?
I was all over the place
Yeah, I'm wondering why.
because I was just trying to like just study on the areas that I know that I'm weak in, and
Okay,
so
got you.
those
Okay,
are my
that makes sense then. That makes sense. So area and perimeter. Let's go to area and perimeter. So were you talking about the pre-test or the practice question? Let's look at some examples from the pre-test. Some of the most missed questions are area and perimeter. They on every single GED exam. You're gonna have an area problem and a percent problem. So what I want you to do is let me preview it, and then you can tell me if that type of problem gives you issues, and we can go over it. You know how to do that one?
I think I do.
Okay, tell me how to do it.
So what I would do is I would add up all of the numbers.
Why would you add all the numbers?
Well, not add it up. I would times all of the numbers, multiply all of the numbers.
Why would you multiply all the numbers?
Um, I don't know.
Okay, so that's where we got to start from.
Okay.
We can't just jump into numbers and saying, okay, this is what I think you do. It
Okay.
has to be a consistent path for everything. First of all, identify what you know. You know it's a triangle, and they want you to find the area. Okay, I
Right.
want you to you have your formula sheet handy.
Yes, I do.
What is the formula to find the area of a triangle?
A equals 1/2 base time height.
Okay, so we identified the formula. Now we need to identify the variables that's in that formula that we know. So when we look at this triangle, what's the base and what's the height?
The base is 8.
The base is not 8. Nope.
So would the base be 17?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, so that's another question. How do you figure out what the base is? The height always touches the base. So
Okay.
the height. So the height is 8.
Okay.
That's, you know what I mean? The base is 21.
Okay.
So base is 21. The height is 8. I'm going to just do simple math. I don't know what half of 21 is, but I know what half of 8 is. Remember, when we talk about the associative and commutative properties, right? It doesn't matter what order you multiply in, right? So 1/2 times 8 is 4 times 21. 4 times 20 is 80. 4 times 1 is 4. That's 84 uh, square units because they're asking for area. So right now, all we got to do is put that 84 as the answer. Got me?
Okay.
So we don't just jump in looking at numbers and start. I purposely, I purposely found this image and used it because all the numbers were filled out. And I wanted to see if people understood, and it's also turned upside down, how to figure the base. So most people, when they explain the base, they have a triangle, right? This is the base. This is the height. So remember, It touches the base and goes up to a vertex. Hold on for 1 second. Good evening, Mr. Tinsley speaking. Good evening, Mr. Tinsley speaking. I have no idea. I don't know why you can't get in. Maybe restart your computer and then try to click the link again. It might be something wrong with Zoom. Let me stop the recording real quick. Everybody needs to see that. I don't know what's going on, but um, I don't know. Listen, I guess I have to try to figure it out after this session is over. Um, so hopefully people are able to join us. Um, I don't know what would that see, because what happens, how I have it set up is that I'm using the same link. So when people come in, then I gotta let them in the waiting room. So I had that issue a couple weeks ago. So now what I'm just going to do is make sure I recognize the person before I let them in.
Right.
Right. But I don't know. I don't know. So hopefully they'll fix it. But here we go. Let's get back to it. So here, when you had this triangle, the thing I want to tell people is the height always touches the base. Always. So this is how the height of something, right? It's very easy to see, right? So here with this right here, we know that's the height. Doesn't touch the 10, doesn't touch the 17, only touches the 21. That's how we can tell what the base is. Got me?
Yes.
All right. So let's look at some more area problems. That you know how to do that, correct?
Yes. That's
How about
correct.
that?
Yeah.
Says is
No.
that okay? So this is one of the most missed questions on the GED exam. Okay, so if you're given the circumference or if you're given the area, how do you determine the other values? Again, always start with what's given. So they said two things. The area of the following circle is 113. So we know the area is 113.04.
Oh,
We also know the formula for area. What is the formula to find the area of a circle? Can you tell me off your formula sheet?
yes, the area of a circumference is C equals
I didn't
2.
say I didn't say circumference.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are we looking for?
The area.
The area of a circle.
Okay, the
What's
area of a circle is A equals pi R2. R square, I'm sorry.
pi r squared? Since we know A is 113, we're going to substitute that in. So 113.04 equal pi r squared. Do we know what pi is?
Yes, it's
Okay.
3.14.
Okay. If we wanted to get r by itself, we would need to get rid of that pi. How do we get rid of that pi?
We multiply it.
Why would you multiply? Tell me why you multiply.
To, I don't, I don't know.
Okay, so that's where if you can't tell yourself why you're doing something, that means you have to figure it out. That means you may not know how to do it.
Okay,
Remember, so 3.4 times, and you see those parentheses, pi r squared means pi times r squared. So if I
okay,
want to get pi by itself, if I want to get r by itself, I need to get rid of pi. Well, since it's being multiplied, I need to divide because the opposite of multiplication is division.
okay,
So once I divide by both sides by 3.14, the 3.14 on the right side cancel. That's what we want to do because we want to get r by itself. So we get r squared equal 113 divided by 0.04 divided by 3.14. Well, r is still not by itself. Remember, the whole goal of algebra is to isolate the variable, to get the variable all by itself. R squared is just not r. So what's the opposite of squaring something?
square root.
Square root. So we're going to take the square root of both sides. Now we're going to use our calculator. And this is what I mean step by step. For everything you do in mathematics, you should know why. If you don't know why, that's one of the questions you should be asking. So we're going to grab our calculator. Let me clear everything out. And for right now, I'm just going to clear the screen so it'll be nice and clear. So the square root of 113 divided by 3.14. So in order to get the square root symbol, it's in green. So I'm going to hit second first. I'm going to hit x squared. In order to have division inside the square root, I'm going to hit ND. 113.04. I'm going to hit my down arrow to move to my denominator, 3.14. I'm going to get out of my fraction, then out of my square root, then I'm going to press enter. So now I have my answer. What does that answer mean? This is the problem that most people make. You got to understand that we have, I'm running out of room, r equal the square root of 113.04 divided by 3.14. Why? Because the square root and the square cancel each other out. So this is what our calculation just returned to us that we put in our calculator. So that means our radius is 6.
Okay.
If our radius is 6, what's our diameter?
Not sure.
Say it again.
I said I'm not sure.
Okay, so that's the first thing. You can't
Okay.
do anything with circles unless you know how to find the radius and the diameter. So the radius is from here to here. That's 6. The diameter is from here to here. So if the radius is 6, what do you think the diameter is? If you look at this diagram, it's from here to here is 6. What do you think from here to here is? All right, watch.
So
So let
what
me
do
show
we
you.
have?
Okay, hold on. So from here to here
It's 6.
is 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think from here to here is?
So what? That's longer. So would it be 12?
12. Well, how do you know that, Mr. Tinsley? Because remember, from the center of the circle, let me make this thicker. From the center of the circle to any edge is called the radius. So that's 6. Well, I can go from this point to this edge. That's 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. So
Okay.
you should know that from now on, you should know the relationship between the diameter and the radius. The diameter is always twice as big as the radius, or the radius is half the diameter. But since we know the radius, we're going to go with that. So if the radius is 6, what's the diameter?
12.
12. Now, the second part of this, or the third part of this, is what's the circumference? Mr. Tinsley, how am I supposed to know? Because you're supposed to identify what's given and what we know. We know that the radius is 6. We know that the diameter is 12. And now we're going to go to our formula sheet. And what formula should we use to find the circumference?
We should use C equals pi. Is that right?
I don't know. Tell me what it is first. You didn't tell me.
Equals pi D.
Pi times d. So what that means is pi times the diameter. Do we know what the diameter is?
Yes, 12.
12. So 3.14 times 12. So we throw that in our calculator so we won't make any mistakes.
37.68.
12 times 3.1,
Okay.
37.68. Now, so what I'm telling you is if they give you the area, they might ask you for the radius. If they give you the area, they might ask you for the diameter. If they give you the area, they might ask you for the circumference. So in this problem, I solved all three. In the ebook, I show you how to solve all three because to me, what you should know already when you see the ebook is I give you the formula. to use. So if they give you the area, you already know you're taking the square root of the area divided by pi. So I show you how to do it quickly. That's my radius. Diameter is twice as big as my radius. And then once I have the diameter, times it by 3.14. 5 easy steps. Done, done, done. But you
Okay.
have to understand, you have to have a conceptual understanding of what the radius is, what the diameter is, the area is the inside, the circumference is the distance around.
Okay.
Okay. So the radius is 6, diameter is 12, circumference is 37.68. Nice, easy problem. But again, you got to practice enough and go through that ebook and learn how to use this calculator to your advantage.
Okay.
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 All right, let's try another. Let's try any other. Okay. It says, what is the area and perimeter? That's pretty easy. That's an easy one. Here go another one. What is the circumference of this circle is 75.36 feet. What is the radius?
Okay.
What is the radius? How
So
would
we
you
can,
even start that problem?
so we would do um square root
No,
and
no. Identify your givens.
identify what.
Identify what you know.
So it's the circumference of a circle.
Is what?
So so it's C equals pi RD.
Pi RD. No, it's not that.
I mean, I'm sorry. C equals pi D. I'm sorry.
Pi times D. Okay. So we know the formula. What else do we know?
That the circumference of a circle is 75.36.
So 7.36 equal pi times D. Do we know what pi is?
3.14.
75.36 equal 3.14 times D. If we want to get D by itself, what do we need to do?
We need to square root.
No, you're trying to remember.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You cannot try to remember. Listen to what I'm asking. When you have a variable trying to get by itself. So if we're trying to solve for D, it's being multiplied by 3.14. What
Okay.
is the opposite operation of multiplication?
Division.
Division. That's so first of all, what you're going to have to do is you're going to make sure you know how to do one step and two step equations,
Okay.
how to solve for any variable, because all area, perimeter, volume is algebra. That's all it is. When you assign a letter for a value, that's algebra. It's an unknown. So we're going to divide by 3.14. Whatever we do to one side, we do on the other. The 3.14 is canceled. We get D is equal to 75.36 divided by 3.14. We got to use our calculator and we got to go step by step. You cannot forget a step. So we're going to go to our calculator. Let's clear everything out. We're going to hit ND. We're going to do 75.36 divided by 3.14. We get 24. Okay. But we're not done. Most people go think the answer is 24. Understand what we did. We solved for D. D is equal to 24. The diameter is equal to 24. They're asking us for the radius.
Okay.
So if the diameter is 24, what's the radius?
We gotta do. I do that. Do we divide the radius?
You tell me.
So we divide it into two, it'd be 12.
It'd be 12. That's how you do problems. Listen, math is something that, yes, it's a lot of formulas, it's a lot of calculations, right? And so at one point you may try to remember the formulas, but it's not about remembering the formulas, it's about how to use the formulas. So when
Okay.
you're given a formula, you got to understand the ultimate goal of algebra is to solve for the unknown, solve for the variable you do not know. So when you set up this equation, There's only one variable. You know what C is. You know what pi is. So we only have one unknown. That means we need to solve for D. Okay? So
Okay.
for example, let me give you an example. If I had a circle and say this wasn't a problem, say I said the R is 8 and I need to find the circumference. So C equal D times pi. Well, we got R. There's nothing, I know, I don't know what C is, I don't know what D is, but I know what pi is. Remember, you should only have one unknown. So what we have to do is we got to go what's given. So if I know the radius is 8, I can figure out what the diameter is, which is 16. Because I know that the diameter is twice as big as the radius. So now that I know the diameter is 16, C equals 16 times 3.14. And now I can solve for C by multiplying. I think it's like 52 something, whatever it is. We just plug it in our calculator. But that's what algebra is about. Okay. So when you say, oh no, this problem is like that, so I gotta take the square root. No, no, you only using square root is if you have C squared. For example, if I solved a problem and I had C squared is equal to 9. C is not by itself. So when I'm looking at this, I say, okay, well, C is on the left side. What can I do to C to get rid of this X squared? So you have to know the inverse operation, the opposite operation is square root. So I'll take it square root of both sides. I get C equal 3. Okay. Each algebraic equation is different. So you might have to take a different approach to solve a problem. So when you're going through your algebra, one step, two-step equation, distributive property, talk yourself through it, walk yourself through it. Because if you try to remember on this exam, they're giving you paragraphs of information. What happens, you're going to get frustrated. You understand? So that's why you use Schoology until September 1st, and then I'm going to try to get everything switched over to Canvas. But you use this to practice over and over and over and over again
Okay.
until you got it.
Okay.
Because why? So we know we have problems with area and circumference of a circle. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna go to my math lessons under area and perimeter. I'm gonna go under my online practice, either CK12 or Khan Academy. I'm gonna go area and circumference of a circle, and I'm going to practice, practice, practice. Good evening. Glad you could join us. People have been having issues with joining the session tonight, so I'm glad you did get in. Um, so I don't know what the problem is, but that's but we just got to continue. So again, this is practice. So you can practice with Khan Academy. You can practice with CK12. You can practice with the assessments that I made in Schoology itself. So look, so they give you word problems. They give you practice. They give you enough. Jaden fold the 66-centimeter strip of paper to 6 equal parts to a model honeycomb cell. Each part was one side of the model. What is that? Right? So say you didn't know. What would you do? Say, so if I don't know how to do this problem, what would you do?
Identify a given.
Identify it again, but say you didn't know, because this is this a circle? So I don't really like this problem at all. So this has nothing to do with a circle, but my point is, watch this. I could check it. That's wrong. I could say, use a hint. Get a hint. Get another hint. So what happened was the honeycomb is a six-sided shape. It's what's called a hexagon. So all those are going to be equal. So all you're doing is doing 66 divided by 6. But you're not going to have like any of this on the quiz. So I'm surprised this went to that. That link must have changed. So let me try to find one with a circle. So that's not good actually. So I need to check these links. See this. So these are okay. So these are perimeter problems. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just go to circles. These are all perimeter problems instead of area and circumference of a circle. All right, let's do circles. Let's try to find practice. And I'll update that link in the new learning management system. And I apologize for that. I do like Khan Academy. Let's go. Let's see exercises. Oh, what do you want to do? A challenge. There we go. Area of a circle right there. So if you notice, when we talk about circle, look at all this practice over here. So if they have a little arrow, that's videos to explain. Let's say we want to find a circumference. Let's do circumference first. Boom, let's do circumference. Let's do practice of a circumference. So suppose the radius of a circle is 8. What is the circumference? Use 3.14 for pi and enter the answer as a decimal. How would I find the circumference of a circle given that the radius is 8? How would we do that? Let me change my pen to red. How would we do that?
So 8 equals pi r squared.
Okay. So why did you say A equal pi r squared?
You said the radius of a circle.
What is it? Okay? So remember, listen. I need you
So
to
we identify.
identify the givens first.
Yeah.
Identify what you know. So you know that the radius is 8. What is it asking? It's asking for the
What is the
what?
circumference?
The circumference. It has to be a direction in which you're going. So when you identify the givens and identify what you know, it makes a lot of this easier. So my radius is 8, and they're asking for the circumference. Because they're asking for the circumference, I can find out what formula I need to use to find the circumference. So when I go to my formula sheet, I can either use d times pi, or I can use 2 times pi times r. Okay. We know what the radius is. You should now know if the radius is 8, what's the diameter?
16.
16. So now I can use either one of these formulas to figure out the circumference, because C equals 16 times pi, or C equal 2 times pi times 8. Well, 2 times 8 is 16. If you notice, we still got the same exact answer. Then we would grab our calculator, and this calculator is the one in
Okay.
Khan Academy. So 16 times 3.14, 50.24. We go ahead and check it, and we got it right. The thing I can tell you the most about math is what most people do is when they don't know it, is they try to remember instead of understanding each step of the way and then doing the calculation. So if you have to practice and do area and circumference 20, 30 times, do it 20 or 30 times, because what you want to do is you want to make sure. Now, again, I want to take it again. Just click on it again.
Okay.
And you can keep taking it. It's going to give you different questions. So, again, now they're telling us the diameters. Identify your givens, identify what they know, what they want, identify from what they're asking you. No matter if you got an area problem, perimeter problem, circumference problem, there's a formula on that formula sheet you're going to use. So C equal D times pi. Why did I use D times pi? Because they gave me the diameter. So C equal 4 times pi. Grab my calculator. 4 times 3.14. Now, I will use the TI-30XS when I'm doing this. I wouldn't use the kind because you want to get used to using the calculator you need for your test. But 12.56. And then you check it. Now, again, as I explained earlier, say you don't know how to do a problem. In Khan Academy, they give you this R equal 1. I don't know how to do circumference. I forget. I can't remember. I don't know if R is 1 is D2. I don't know. I can't remember. So just put an answer there. You know what's wrong, right? Watch this. Review related articles or use a hint. Get a hint. They're telling you C equal 2 pi times R. Because they gave us the radius, we're going to use the formula circumference equal 2 pi R. Well, I still don't know where to go. Give me another hint. Substitute the values in that you know. 2, we know pi is 3.14. We know the radius is 1. Plug it into our calculator to get our answer. Okay? So, again, that's things that you can do. These are the resources that are free. They don't cost you anything. All of this takes your time. Say you still don't understand area. You can watch a video in Khan Academy. I got videos on my site, but if you want to watch area, you can click on this right here, and it's going to take you to a video that's going to give you an example of how to solve a problem, area of a circle. Okay? Now, once you watch that video, or you go to my site and watch the video, you understand it, let's practice. Okay? Let's practice. So let's look at the area of a circle. Find the area of a circle with a circumference of 18.84. What, Mr. Tinsley? What are you talking about? How can we find the area of a circle if they gave us the circumference? I don't even know where to start. What you should be thinking in your head every time you come across a problem you do not know. You should be hearing me in your head. Identify your givens, identify what they want to know, go get your formula. So, they want to know the area of the circle. They gave us a circumference equal 18.84. So C equal 18.84. What do I need for the area? I need to know what R is. So from the circumference, I know the form of circumference. So C equal D times pi. So I'm going to substitute that in because I know what the circumference is. So 18.84 equal D times pi. In order to find the diameter, I need to divide both sides by pi. Hold on, Mr. Tins. I thought you said pi was 3.14. Why didn't we fill it in? It doesn't matter. As long as you understand the steps that to get to isolate and get the diameter by itself, I need to divide by pi. Why? Because right now, that formula says D times pi is how you get the circumference. So to get rid of that pi, so D is by itself, I need to do the opposite of operation. The opposite of multiplication is division. Those 2 pi cancel. I get D equal 18.84 divided by pi, which is 3.14. So I'm going to go grab my calculator and find out what the diameter is. 18.84. Matter of fact, let me use our calculator. Let's stop using that kind of calculator because we want to get used to using our calculator. I'm going to hit ND, 18.84 divided by 3.14. I hit enter. I know my diameter is 6. If I know my diameter is 6, what's my radius? If I know my diameter is 6, what's my radius?
12?
Hello?
Yeah, 12?
Why'd you say 12? So remember, you got to visualize that circle in your head. The radius is from the center to the edge.
Oh, so
The,
3.
the diameter is twice as big because it goes from one side through the center to the other side.
So it's
So
3.
3. So my radius is 3. And this is how you talk yourself through the problem. You can't remember. You have to know, okay, well, I know my radius is smaller than my diameter. I remember that if I know it's small, I remember that's half. Once you know that the radius, so listen, I said, you remember, but you know the radius is half of the diameter. So my radius is 3. So, or on the calculator, since I know, if once I know the diameter is twice as big as the radius, if I know the diameter, I just divide by 2. It's simple. I identify this in my ebook. Once you know the diameter, divide by 2. If you know the radius, multiply that by 2 to get the diameter. Now, once we got the radius is 3, do we know how to find the area of a circle? What is the formula to find the area of a circle? What is the formula to find the area of a circle?
Oh, A equals pi r squared.
A equal pi r squared. So A equal, do we know what pi is?
3.14.
3.14. Do we know what r is?
R squared.
No, do we know what r is?
Oh, 3.
3. So 3 squared. Then we just go plug into our calculator. 3.14 times 3 squared. Our area is 28.26. 28.26. Okay, didn't tell us to round off, did it? Nope. 28.26. Let's check it. Oops. 28.26. Let's check it. There you go. We correct. So, and this is why I like practice, telling you to practice with Khan Academy or CK12, because it's going to give you problems in different ways. It didn't just ask what the area is, because most of the time in class and in books, they tell you how to figure out the area, they tell you how to figure out the circumference. But on this question, they asked us to figure out the area, but giving us circumference. They could ask us to figure out circumference and give us the area. They can ask us to figure out the radius if they give us the circumference. You have to be prepared for all these scenarios. So this is why, again, go back here. Let's go back to math lessons. Now, this time I went under Khan Academy. But let's now this time go into CK12. Again, practice. Time is what's most important. Are you going to give the time to make sure before you move on to the next subject matter, the next topic? Do I know this? Well, how? This is the only way you're going to know if you know it. If you see a bunch of different problems in a bunch of different ways. So, area and perimeter, online practice CK12. Look at this. Identify circle component. Use diameter, radius, and pi. Find the circumference. Find the area of a circle. Find the diameter or radius of a circle given circumference. Find the radius or diameter given area. So every question that they could ask you about area and circumference of a circle, oops, I have right here. I have right there. And that's where you go practice. You practice that. Then when you finish that, when you finished all of them, right? Because Khan Academy only got 4 questions apiece. But you could take the quiz over and over as many times as you want to make sure you understand that concept. Then what you can do is, if you want, is to go back now, back to my assessments that I created. So what I did was I created questions that mimic the GED type questions. I picked area. Back. I specifically have circles. Here we go. You're going to have an area circumference problem. They might ask you, they might give you the area circumference and solve for radius and diameter. Why? Because it's one of the most missed questions. So you know you're going to have, area circumference. Look at that. Find the radius of each circle, given that the circumference is 62 point. Now, if you just practice with Khan Academy or CK 12, you prepare for that question. Easy. Find the radius of each circle, given the area. Again, if you practice in Khan Academy or Schoology, you're prepared. So look at same type of questions, but now given to you in different ways. One way had a circumference as pi. Now I give you a diagram of a circle. So I gives you the same questions in different ways, so you can be prepared to answer no matter what they give you. Here's a word problem. Talk about a circular flower garden to see if you understand that you can take the mathematical concept and then apply it to a real life scenario. That's what a word problem is. That's all a word problem is. So I give you, I think, 10 additional questions for area and circumference of a circle. Some they just ask you about an area. Sometimes they ask you for the circumference. Some give you the area. Some give you the circumference, and then I put a bunch of word problems to see if you can make the connection. Okay. So these are the things you have to do. You have to practice. You have to practice, practice, practice. So you might have to do 20 questions. You might have to do 30 questions. You might have to do some questions tonight, some questions tomorrow, some questions on Tuesday or Wednesday, just to see, do I make sure I got this down? And you can do that for every concept in for the GED. So I think you talking about area and circumference of circles. You also talked about what?
I said system of equations too.
System of equations. Okay. So again, you can go to the math. So the purpose of the math lessons is to teach you how to do something. So if you go to the math lessons in school, it's giving you a handout to show you the different ways you can solve a system of equations. I'm giving you a textbook lesson that explains how to do it. Once you think you know how to do it, you have the online practice. So let's go to some online practice. I'm just picking these randomly because it doesn't matter, because I know the how to solve. So for most intents and purposes, they're gonna give you elimination. Okay. You can solve by graphing and you can solve by substitution. For most intents and purposes, you can solve most system of equations through elimination. So let's go through elimination. Boom. And again, I don't know what these questions are. Oops. So let's just practice. Let's see what we got. So I'm looking at this question. And first of all, again, identify what you know. So when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at these problems. First of all, Mr. Tinsley told me slope intercept form, standard form. These are not in standard form. So do you have to change in the standard form? You don't. If you identified right away that these are opposites, these are already canceling each other out. If you do enough system of equations, you should be able to identify what steps you need to take. So right away, the x's are eliminated when I combine these two equations. So 7y equal 7. Again, now a one-step algebraic equation. Divide both sides by 7. I get y equal 1. But I'm not done, because they're asking for x and y. But I know y is 1. So what do? I plug it back into one of the equations. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to plug it into the second one. Doesn't matter. So 5 times 1 minus, oops, no, I don't want a negative. I'll do it. I like negative, but I'll do it. Minus 7x equal 12. 5 minus 7x equal 12. Subtract 5, subtract 5. Get minus 7x equals 7. In order to get x by itself, I'm multiplying by negative 7, so I need to divide by negative 7. Whatever I do to one side, I do the other. If you notice, I'm talking myself through the steps. This is what you should be doing for every math problem. X equal -1. So let's try it. -1 and 1. Let's see if that works. I forgot what I just said. -1 and 1, I said? I think I said that. Check it. There you go. Okay, so um if I used CK12 to practice, it depends on what you like. Um, with CK12, it increases in difficulty. So it's called adaptive practice. So as you answer questions correctly, it will increase the problems. Sorry, that's my phone is ringing off the hook. So I do apologize. I will find out the reason why um people couldn't get on this evening. Um, I hope it's not because of that issue that happened a couple of weeks ago, but I'll find out why people couldn't get in, and try to fix the problem before we meet next Monday. So again, this is CK12 linear system by elimination. I'm gonna practice. Again, doesn't matter what you use, but what you want to do is you want to see enough problems that you know how to do it. Okay, you're not trying to remember, well, what did I do here? Last time when I had a problem like this, no, it's what is going on? Oh, wait, let's see if hopefully my internet just. So since time is almost up, I'm not going to go through. I just totally had the wrong links here. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Ah, I gotta really check. They must have really changed these links. I didn't want that problem. Ah, oh, here we go. I don't know what that. I don't know what that opened for. Maybe I clicked something by accident. This is what I was looking for. So again, we look at these problems and you say, "Oh my God, Mr. Tinsley, I don't know how to solve this," because the way you explained it in class, you either had standard form or you had slope intercept form. Well, what do we have here? The first thing you should ask yourself, what is an equation? An equation means you have an equal sign. What that means is for whatever values you have for x and y, you should have the same thing on both sides of that equal. So the first thing I would do, if I seen this problem, I wouldn't be flustered. Most people would. Because how do you, one formula is, one equation solved for x, the other is in standard form. What do I do? This is what I would do. Is if you know what an equation is, that means whatever I put for the values of x and y, I should get on the other side of the equal sign. Well, the multiple choice is giving me my x and y because I know each point is an ordered pair. So, what am I going to do? Okay, x is 2, y is -7. I can plug those in. Watch this. So, 2 store x minus 7 store y. I'm going to plug it into that standard form. 4x plus 2y. And I need to see if I get 6. If I do not get 6, I don't even need to check the other form. I do not get 6, so I know it's not A. I'm going to repeat the same thing for B. 5 store x minus 7 store y. Plug in that second formula, second expression, 4x plus 2y, or equation, 2y. I should get 6 if that's a solution of that equation. I get 6. So that is a possible solution. B is a possible solution. Well, Mr. Tiz, I thought you said if it's equal, that should be the solution. A system of equations must satisfy both. So I got my x and I got my y, right? So I know that my x is 5 I know that my y is -7. So I'm going to plug this in to my calculator, and I know my x is 5. So when I plug this in, I should get 5 if that equation works. So 4 plus 2y. I should get x is 5. I did not. So it is not B. So let's go to C. So remember, that point satisfied one of the equations, but it has to satisfy both. So 5 store x minus 1 store y. Plug it into the second equation. 4x plus 2y should give me 6. It didn't give me 6, so I know it's not C. Let's go to D. 2 store x minus 1 store y. As I plug in the second equation, 4x plus 2y, I should get 6. Do I get 6? Yes. So now I check the first equation. 4 plus 2y. My y is -1. My x is 2. That means I should get 2. Bam. I just solved that system of equations without doing any work algebraic. Okay, Mr. Tinsey, but what if I wanted to know how to solve this algebraic? What would I do? So let me take a screenshot of this so you'll see it, what I did. And let's solve it algebraic. So the first thing you know is x is 4 plus 2y. So there's 3 ways you can solve a system of equations: elimination, graphing, or substitution. Hold on, Mr. Tinsey, I thought you said on the GED they're probably not going to have you doing substitution. You're right. But this is the conceptual understanding of how to solve a system of equations. You should know all 3 ways. Now, if you're only going to get one way on the GED, that'll make it much easier. But I'm going to substitute everywhere I see x. So 4 times 4 plus 2y plus 2y equals 6. Again, we got rid of one of the variables. We got rid of x. 16 plus 8y plus 2y equals 6. Combine like terms. 16 plus 10y equals 6. Subtract 16 from both sides. 10y equal -10. Divide both sides by 10. The 10's cancel. I'm left with y equal -1. Did I still get y is -1? So when y is -1, I know it can't be A. I know it can't be B, because y is -1 there. Y is -1 there. So now, you check your multiple choice, because sometimes you can eliminate 3 answers, so you don't have to solve for x. So now I'm going to plug this in to one of these equations. Well, it's very easy. X equal 4 plus 2y. X equal 4 plus 2 times -1. X equal 4 minus 2. X equal 2. Bang, 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 bang. 2, comma, -1. Found our answer. So whether you use Khan Academy, whether you use CK12, whether you use the system of equations. So what I would prefer you do is to practice, then use the assessments I made. Why? Because the assessments I made were indicative of the type of system of equations problems you're going to get on your exam. So again, you can go to Schoology, then go under GED Math 1, go under practice tests and practice problems. So remember, what we just left was under math lessons. As if you don't know how to do something or you're confused. They're going to give you videos in a textbook so you can learn how to do it. Practice tests and additional practice problems come down to system of equations. And then these will be the types of problems you will see on the GED exam. I'll preview it. Okay. And then these are word problems. These are not computation. These are word problems. Identify what you know. The test has 20 questions worth 20 points. The test consists of true, false questions worth 3 points each and multiple choice questions 11 points. So 3 times x, because x is my true, false, the number of true, false. My y is the number of my multiple choice. These are unknowns. We don't know how many true, false questions there are. We don't know how many multiple choice questions there are. What we do know, though, is true, false are worth 3 points. So 3 times x plus 11 times y equal 100. We know there's 20 questions. So x plus y equal 20. Now we have 2 equations. We can solve our system of equations. And that's how you start. That's how you break down a question. Identify what you know. Identify what they're asking. Identify if you need a formula, and then plug those values in. In this case, we would have to do something a little more difficult. We're trying to eliminate one of the variables. So you should know by now the opposite of 3x is minus 3x. So that means I had to multiply this second equation by minus 3. So that first equation stays the same. 3x plus 11y equal 100. Minus 3x minus 3y equal minus 60. The x's cancel. That's the purpose of elimination. You're trying to eliminate a variable. 8y equal 40. Again, this is a one-step algebraic equation. Divide both sides by 8. The 8's cancel. Y equal 5. So what did x stand for? X stood for the number true, false. Y stand for the number of multiple choice. Well, what are they asking? How many multiple choice questions there are on the test? So since Y was set for multiple choice, we don't have to plug it back in to see what X is, because we can answer this question 5 when we're done. Okay, so practice, practice, practice. That's how you get a conceptual understanding. When you practice, that gives you the rigor. And then what happens is now you can apply it to real life situations or more difficult mathematical concepts. So again, conceptual understanding, practice, application, and that will be your success. Any questions before we leave this evening?
No.
All right, so I hope this helps you. What I want you to do is, again, area and perimeter. If the area and perimeter circles, focus on those till you got it. Don't move all over the place. Make sure you got it. I consider mastery 80 or above.
Okay.
So if you got 60, 70, keep working it. Keep doing those problems, even if you're doing the same problems again. But you walk yourself through each step. Identifying your givens, identify what you know, identify if you need a formula. What do they want me to find out? And that way, I know it might sound crazy, but math, you got to talk to yourself. For real, you got to talk to yourself. Because why? You're writing it, you're reading it, you're seeing it, you're saying it, and you're hearing it. You're trying to hit all your senses. Of course, you can't smell or taste, but the other senses you can. Talking to yourself, hearing it, writing it, seeing it. All right?
Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.